Good morning. Here is the start of my Dolls Gone Goth wedding challenge. Now, this was a challenge that was set up by, most of you probably know if you're part of it, by Jay of J Dolls UK and Marna from Dolls Rescued. Now, I think this is a fantastic challenge. This is the second one, so please check out the sites because there are others within the sort of goth genre that they're going to be doing. Now, this is my Smartdoll Chitose, and she is my Goth Dolls challenge. Now, it was a wedding theme, which could be anything. You didn't even have to make the outfit, so don't worry about anything like that. It could be ones you already got. It doesn't have to be a smart doll. It can be any doll. Barbie, Blythe, I'm trying to think, Cindy. Oh God, there's so many dolls, isn't there? Any doll at all that has a sort of wedding theme. It doesn't have to even be exact, a goth wedding theme perhaps. But I decided to make our Chitose here a nice little dress. So here it is. There's been a few disasters along the way, which I will show you when I go top down. So believe you me, this became quite the bodge of a dress, but I'm still quite pleased with the outcome. So here is my Chitose. As I've mentioned, she is a smart doll by Danny Chu, and she has her tiara on. I've crocheted and popped some beads on. She has a little veil. I will take that veil off now so we can see that beautiful face and pop the tiara back on top. So there she is. She has a bunch of flowers there. You have to have some flowers on your wedding day. And we have little bits and pieces that I've made. So I'll go through the details on there. So we'll just move up. She's a bit hard to video because she's so long. So here we go. And I will move back a little bit and you might be able to see more of the detail we sort of have here. I've taken some photos yesterday and I'm really pleased with them, so I will pop the photos obviously on as well so people can have a proper look at this long girl here, because as I said, they are quite big dolls, as you can see. She's quite a tall girl. She has some little black stilettos on here as well, and I will go through how and what I've actually made when we go top down so you can see it a little bit better. But I just wanted to say hi, and I can't wait to see everybody's challenges. And don't forget, it's not just on YouTube as well. There are Instagram links as well, so I'll pop those hashtags in. I'll pop some links below so everybody can have a look at each other's. I know when we did the last goth challenge, it was great going through everybody's, and it's just nice. I mean, it's a wonderful community. If you're not part of it, you really do enjoy your dolls, you need to get part of it and enjoy what people are doing. And I hope you really do like my Chitose, because she's one of my favourite smart dolls. Shh, don't tell the others you shouldn't have a favourite. The others are up there, they're listening. No, I'm not crazy. So here she is. This is Chitose, and like I said, this isn't the wig she normally has. This was a cheap wig that I got. When did I get it? It was an eBay one. It was an eBay one. So we're going to have a closer look and see what she's like. But I just wanted to say hi and how much I've enjoyed doing this challenge. So happy Dolls Gone Goth wedding day, and we'll have a proper look at this girl to see some details in a second. Well, here she is. We're back with Chitose to have a look at a few more details. Some of it's all fallen backwards now. That's the only problem. And I'm stood up, so my hands look really high. This looks really odd. But again, because of her height, it's really difficult to do that. So I think what I'll do is I'll pick off the details as I go and we can have a little look. As I mentioned, we have a little bouquet of flowers. Now, these are just paper crafting flowers you can get off eBay. I think there was something like £1 something a bunch. There's actually 3 bunches in there. And I have a little bit of net, which is the same net as I've used for all this. I'll tell you what that is in a minute. That's a cheap way of getting some net. So, and then I just added some little sort of strands of various bits of ribbons in blacks and reds that I've got, just to give a little bit of detail. And I just tied that in the back. Now, this is a little bit of floristry, I don't know what you want to call it, floristry stuff, tape, that I just covered the wires. You could use sellotape, masking tape, whatever you wanted. You could do it with ribbons. It's just that I happen to have some of that, so I just wrapped it round. So it didn't take much doing. You don't need a lot of crafting skills to do that. I said these are just tied on. You could glue them on if you feel they're not secure enough. But I just thought it makes a nice addition to the outfit. And I've gone for black and red, as you can see. I know traditionally we think goth black, but if you've watched the other videos from the last sort of goth challenge, you will know that there are lots of different types of goth. I just went sort of perhaps more traditional, sort of Victorian-esque sort of goth look. So that was my little flowers that she got there. Now the other thing I made, which some of you have already seen on pictures that I did on Instagram, is the tiara. Now, excuse that little bit of thread sticking up. I don't even know whether you can see that bit of thread. It's because this part was stitched on and it has fallen off. So that is why that's stitched there. Now, if you're wanting to make a Smartdoll tiara, I do have a video for that, and I will link it in if you're interested. It'll look a bit of a weird one because it's a baby pink one when I put it as the sort of little picture in the corner compared with the goth things. But basically it's a crochet tiara, and then I've stitched on and added in some bead detail there. This again, if we're looking at sort of an easy way of doing things, I should have neatened it off a bit, but I've been in such a rush I've sort of bodged it. It is actually half a person headband that I've heated up and reshaped. I pop it in hot water in a mug, push it down, but if you want, like I say, if you want to know how to make one, I've got the details in my other video. But I did think it worked quite nicely. I love the sparkly black as well, and this is why I ended up going for the red, because I made the tiara first and I'm like, I like that, so we have to have red. That was a definite. So that's my tiara, and I'm really pleased with that. And it did have a little veil attached. The veil still sat, as you've seen, but it did sit better when it was actually stitched on. Just looking at my thumbnail, I seem to have got some sort of paint in there. That's not a surprise. Right, so I mentioned the wig. This is just an eBay find. It's not the greatest wig in the world. You can feel it's a little bit rough. It works great sort of for doll cosplay, things like this. I've not really put many photos on, but I've done a little bit because my family do cosplay. So I know I've got my, I think it's Mirai I've got on here as a video showing her, I've completely gone, how to train the dragon cosplay, because that's what my son did. So I've got some pictures, I've got a video and some pictures of her up. So this will be the second one going on the cosplay. It's not technically cosplay, but it's still costume. So costume play. I'm just going to take this one off. Now this is something I made a while ago. I actually made it for last year's Halloween. It's got a little bit tangled when I've laid it down. That's why that's the only problem. I shouldn't have laid it down. That should lay flat. But basically, if you go to the pound shop over here, or any cheap store or Halloween store, I think you get a lot more in the US than we do, for example, but we do have a few nice bits and bobs in our pound store. And this is basically what this is, or was. It was a person's choker that I took apart and reshaped so it actually fits as a very nice, you can sort of wear it a little bit lower if she wanted to, but I popped it quite high as a choker. And all I've actually then done is I've attached a little bit of Velcro. I've actually stitched the Velcro on. I'm always worried about things coming undone, so I do stitch rather than glue if I can possibly help it. So I just reshaped it, redesigned it, and I thought it made a really nice gothic collar for our dolls here. It would be Smartdoll size. I think it'd be too big. But the thing is, keep an eye out for these necklaces, because if you've got a pair of pliers, a pair of scissors, you can take all the bits and pieces apart. I mean, for example, you could use just that. Sort of add a few beads, a little bit of lace. How cute would that look on one of your smaller dolls? So these are always handy to have. I've got a few of these in my box, sort of not altered yet, just so as I can play about if I needed some goth type items. So we'll pop that one there. So let's have a look. I talked about the pound shop. Let's go back to this veil and what I said was on here. Now her veil, if I pop it over her, you might be able to see there's cobweb designs on it. Now the veil and also this little piece around her dress are actually tablecloths. Again, from our pound shop, so it doesn't matter too much. You can just have a good cut up. This is a full tablecloth. I didn't even have to take this one apart, but obviously this is a cut out bit. But it's really nice. I'm going to pick some more up this year when they start popping the Halloween things in, and keep them in sort of my fabric drawer. Because again, the beauty of lace, you can cut it, you don't have to mess about hemming it. And I just thought it worked really, really nicely. Sort of, again, we've got proper Halloween-y, but then gothic-y all at the same time. And how cheap is that? So I'll pop that over to one side. Now let's have a look at this girl. Just pop her elbows back in. Their elbows and joints do have a tendency to come out, which... so every now and again you do have to push them out. She's got a few marks on, and I need to get some stain removal done. I keep saying that, but it's one of those things I never get round to doing. But I thought Chitose, I could have used one of the other girls, but Chitose has got this sort of very, I don't know, she's got that sort of gothic feel, I think, compared with the other girls. So that is why I did it. Now, we've got some little flowers, again, just little eBay finds, just sort of dressed it up, made it a little bit fancier. We have a little chain here. Now, this is going to sound a bit weird. This chain has actually come off a hanging basket. The hanging basket, again, is a pound shop. Oh, I love the pound shop. Is a pound shop deal. And I bought it because I was planning on trying to make some sort of chair for the dolls. So I took the chain off because I didn't need it. So when I found it in my box, I thought, well, that's great. That works out perfectly. So let's just shuffle her down a little bit. As I said, just added a few more flowers on there. She has her, now these are Danny Chew shoes that she's got. They are quite awkward to get a fit for. I do have some cheaper shoes, but they are really nice. And I love these because they don't scuff or anything like that because they're like a plastic. Now again, this is our pound shop coverall. So you can see the spider's webs on there. So I can't really call it a veil. I'm not quite sure what to call it. I'm sure it does have a proper name. So when it's laid out, we'll pull it back down and move those out of the way. And move your arms, missus, just slid down a little bit there. And basically it comes across to sort of give us this detail on the dress. I think the photos definitely show it better. It's quite hard to show it this way. But it just gives that extra detail. Some of you have seen the picture of the dress when I started it and it was going to be red this. It was like a red chiffon I got. It just didn't work. So I've gone completely off on a tangent and went for the black detail, which I think works a lot better. Now down to the dress. Now this dress is actually an old top of mine. And I mean old. But I love the fabric, and I wouldn't have fitted in it for years, but the fabric was nice, so I decided to keep it. And I'm pleased I did, because this is how I made the dress. The only thing is, there wasn't a lot of fabric to it, so I had to sort of bodge it up somewhat. So it's in pieces. There is the top, and because it had this original sort of piece of elastic sort of lace effect here, I left it on. So I used that, so I'd got a top. The lines in it were actually already in the top, so I thought I had to work with it. So the top is separate to the skirt, and then this part here I had to cut out separate again, and so on. So I basically didn't have enough fabric. I would like to try and make this dress again, but with a big piece of stretch velvet, because that is what it is. It is a stretch velvet. The only thing is my sewing machine absolutely hated it, so that was another bodge that went wrong. Now, coming to the biggest bodge of them all. I don't know whether you are sewers or not, but if you are, sometimes, you know, you've cut something and then you think, oh, it needs to be taken in, so you sew another line, and then you've got to trim off these seams. Well, I decided to trim off the seams, but unfortunately, as the scissors hit, I knew I'd done it because the fabric suddenly felt thicker. And get ready for this. Our poor Chitose is flashing a little bit at the back. Now I'm really cross with myself for doing this, because that is what I did. So you can see there's this V cut out here. I'm sure that would be a style in its own right. I've not decided how I'm going to work this in, whether I'm just going to stitch it up, and I don't know. My husband did sort of suggest doing a bustle over it, which I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea, stitch it on and then put a bustle. But problem is, I'm out of fabric, so I'd have to rethink that, whether to do a black satin one or something like that. But I was trimming off this seam, and somehow the fabric had folded in. And like I say, as the scissors hit, and they're the big shears, so they go through quite a way, I felt the fabric was thicker, and I knew I'd done. I can't believe that. I was so furious with myself. Another reason for needing this little coverall here. So please be careful when trimming seams. So the dress is a bit of a bodge. You don't have to be a master sort of seamstress. It would have been easier if I hadn't had to add pieces. If that had been one long piece, I could have probably got away with doing a tube. Because it is so stretchy, I could have done just a straight tube. The waist is a bit of a pain on the Smart Dolls. This is why you get this gathery effect. But to be honest, in this style, it actually benefits. I've actually benefited from it. So I was able to just crinkle it all up, just little stitches under there, and then pop these details on to cover where I'd stitched it. So it sort of benefited, but I do think it would have been so much easier not to have to do it in 3 pieces. But it was just down to the fabric I had. But I just completely fell in love with the fabric, and I just thought it was lovely. So I now need to try and find some fabric like this, and I will remake the dress, I think, at some point. It's on my list. It could be years the way my list is going at the moment. So here is my Chi. People call them Chi, Chitose, however. And she never really got a name. She's just ended up with her stock name of Chitose. So let's grab her other little bits and pieces. That's annoying how it's tangled. I've got to work that out. Oh, there we go. There, it's not tangled now. So this obviously goes around her neck. We'll just pop it there now because it's just going to slide straight back. Anyway, she has her lovely bouquet of flowers there. And we'll put that on best we can in this angle because it's all just going to fall off anyway. So there you can see the tiara. So I hope you enjoyed having a look at my girl. I'm really pleased with her. I said the photos I was over the moon with, so I will be popping them on my Instagram, as well as I'll pop a few in the hashtag dollsgonegothwedding. You know, that is such a mouthful. It's great, it's catchy, but when you're trying to say it's dolls gone goth, it sort of goes a little bit all over the place. I sound like I'm losing my voice. I don't know why. I think I need a drink probably. I've not had one yet this morning. So I think that is the priority next. I will be making a cup of tea, and then I'm going to be doing my tutorial for a granny square top for a Cindy doll if you're interested. But for now, I'm going to pop my Chitose away with her gorgeous dress on, and I can't wait to see everybody else's videos. That's what I'm looking forward to next. I'm a bit late popping mine on probably compared with everybody else. So when I go on the computer, in fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my breakfast and a drink before I do anything. And I'm going to sit at that computer and see who else has already put theirs on, because I bet some of you have been way more organised than me. So, from Chitose here and from myself, we'll see you very soon. If you do enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe and share. It means the world to all of us YouTubers when you do. And I hope to see you all very soon. And don't forget, there's another challenge coming up. So check out those links. And if you want to get involved, please do. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. And I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye for now.